The government is making mortgages easier for first-time home buyers. Germany unveils a new strategy towards China. We look at what it means for Taiwan.
Thailand is still without a prime minister after its crucial parliament votes, and people are wondering where that leaves the country.
Plus, Taiwan's making more land available for renewable energy, but not everyone's happy about it. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Betty Chen. Buying a first home in Taiwan can be difficult as many young people are struggling with stagnant incomes and high property prices. The government wants to address this by expanding a loan benefits program. Unveils takes a look at what's set to change and how much difference it could make.
Hu Zhouwei is in his 30s. He's ready to settle down and buy his first home. But for young Taiwanese people like him, that's not an easy thing to do. Taiwan currently has the world's 15th most expensive property compared to income ratio, beating South Korea, Japan, and all Western countries. Taiwan's government wants to make it easier for young people like Hu to get into the housing market. So from August, it's expanding loan benefits for first-time buyers. Maximum loan amounts will be extended to more than $320,000 with a preferential interest rate. And the repayment period will be extended to 40 years. It's a deal Hu finds attractive.
那大概算下来的话，可能一年可以省掉1万多块左右的一个贷款金。
There are some concerns investors could take advantage of these favorable conditions. But market analysts say the way the scheme is set up means this approach could come with too many uncertainties.
成本可能相对比较高。第二个，未来涨幅没有那么理想，那自然而然可能在愿意用这种方式套利的人就会比较少。如果未来可能有一些升息，或者是说不确定的经济因素，有可能造成价格修正。
But to get these expanded benefits, would-be buyers will need to sign up within the next 3 years. And some analysts say the benefits don't erase the problem of property prices beyond the reach of young people.
利滚利的结果，你小的负担的这个金额是越来越高的。那特别在时间拉长底下，真的是天荒地老啊！你从30岁缴到70岁，那你人生已经到老的时候还要再缴房贷。
Meaning that even with these preferential conditions, prospective homebuyers like Hu Zhouwei still have a long road ahead of them. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
More than 50% of Taiwan's office workers fear their job could be replaced by artificial intelligence in the near future. That's according to a new survey by the 1111 Job Bank website. The questionnaire also found over 80% believe AI will replace certain types of jobs. Workers under the age of 30 were most concerned about the emergence of AI. The survey found people believe translators, copywriters, administrators, and customer service agents are most at risk of being appropriated by AI. Taiwan's first locally made weather satellite is on its way to French Guiana. The Triton Wind Hunter satellite was sent to the South American territory on Friday. The satellite is set to launch in September and will help scientists track typhoons more accurately. Triton was jointly developed by Taiwan's space agency in collaboration with the Central Weather Bureau. It took 8 years to build. North Korea has defended its latest launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile as an act of self-defense. That's what a country's UN envoy told the Security Council on Thursday during a rare appearance. North Korean state television broadcast footage of the launch earlier this week. It was the country's first to use solid fuel. This could allow the authoritarian state to make faster long-range nuclear strikes during a war. The US, Japan, and South Korea have condemned the latest test. Germany's foreign minister said it cannot be indifferent to tensions around Taiwan as Berlin unveiled its first ever China strategy. Minister Annalena Baerbock had this to say on Thursday.
Eine militärische Eskalation wäre auch eine Gefahr für Millionen von Menschen, und zwar weltweit und damit auch bei uns.
Under the new strategy, Germany plans to reduce dependencies on China in key sectors like medicines and semiconductors. China has been Germany's largest trading partner for 7 years. The strategy's publication comes after months of political wrangling as Berlin seeks to balance its deep economic ties with hardening European attitudes towards Beijing. To find out more about this, our reporter James Chater spoke with Yuja Anaferenzi, an expert in EU-Taiwan relations based in Taiwan's capital, Taipei.
What are the most important aspects of Germany's new China strategy?
I believe that it will help recalibrate Germany's China strategies, China policy. So it is a very first good step. One point I would highlight is how the strategy commits Germany to align with the EU's China policy. Across the EU, there has been for many years a great concern that Germany is pushing its own interests forward when it comes to China because it has a privileged access to the Chinese market. It sends a message to Beijing that there is a future together, but not the one that Germany and China has had in the past.
The document said escalation in the Taiwan Strait would pose significant dangers to Germany itself. How do you think Taiwan will be impacted by this new China strategy?
Taiwan has been on the European agenda overall for the past 3-4 years. This was inspired by an aggressive China in the Indo-Pacific, but also a very much aggressive China in its relationship with the EU. So I'm glad to see that Germany considers this of highest relevance to how we go forward with China. Of course, we have a strong cooperation already with Taiwan, and I think the fact that Germany commits to expanding this further is also very good.
Could Germany's new strategy provide a sort of benchmark to other European nations that are also looking to recalibrate their approach to Beijing?
And I think all member states need to feel that they're part of the discussion. It cannot work if 2 or 3 leading member states lead the conversation. Every single EU member state needs to be around the table. But we are in a new reality at this stage. Everyone understood that. And I think the fact that the strategy says, as I said, that China has changed, we are changing, we are adjusting. So it will be, I think, a good inspiration for the rest of the member states that look at rebalancing their relations with China.
That was James Chater speaking with EU-Taiwan relations expert Yuja Anaferenzi. Indonesia's foreign minister has warned there are signs of an emerging Cold War in the Indo-Pacific. Retno Marsudi's comments came during the East Asia Summit in Jakarta on Friday. Delegates from across Southeast Asia met with counterparts from countries including the US and China. Retno did not name specific threats to the region's stability, but she said it's critical to prevent conflict from breaking out in the region.
Some say the Indo-Pacific is experiencing symptoms of a Cold War in hot places. The Indo-Pacific should not be another battleground. Our region must remain stable, and we intend to keep it that way.
Thailand's popular candidate for prime minister says he's not giving up despite losing his first chance of becoming the country's leader. On Thursday, Pita Limjaroenrat failed to win a majority of votes in the Thai parliament. Our reporter Joyce Tseng is in Bangkok.
Thailand's political future is still uncertain, just a day after its parliament failed to vote in a new prime minister. But sole candidate Pita Limjaroenrat says that he won't be giving up despite losing his first chance to take the country's top spot. Pita fell short of winning the majority he needed from both branches of parliament. He won a total of 324 votes between his party and its allies, but 182 lawmakers voted against him. 199 members of parliament abstained. The opposing senators took issue with Pita's plans to reform the country's long-standing royal defamation law. That law makes criticizing the royal family a jailable offense. One lawmaker said that he and his party would support Pita if he were just to drop this amendment from his platform. But speaking to reporters after the vote, Pita said he intends to keep his promises to the Thai people and won't back down.
I'm not giving up. I'm going to strategize once again to consolidate voice just to make sure that we reach 376 later on.
Pita is allowed to stand for further rounds of voting. His second shot is scheduled for July 19th. But with such a small show of Senate support and 2 pending court cases against him, things are not boding very well for the 42-year-old Harvard grad. The streets of Bangkok are bustling with commuters like any other Friday, but uncertainty over the country's future is looming large.
I think they not respect our vote. The senator there, they didn't follow our selections, so I think it's not okay.
On the constitution, following the constitution. So what is the result come out? You have to be accept. But they said, no, I'm not said. I'm going to fight. I'm not give up. This is not. You're not sportman, you know.
It's a mixed bag of feelings here in downtown Bangkok, but it's unlikely that Pita and his supporters will go down without a fight. Move Forward Party supporters have already begun planning protests for Friday evening. Now lawmakers will have to decide whether they're willing to upset the 14 million voters who want to see Pita lead one of the most important economies in the region. Alex Chen and Joyce Chen in Bangkok for TaiwanPlus.
As Thailand's situation remains very uncertain, our reporter Joyce Tseng spoke with political analyst Kawisa Kawi in Bangkok to break down what could happen from here.
Are you surprised that the junta-appointed senators largely voted against Pita? What do these results tell you?
I don't think most people were surprised. I think only the most optimistic supporters of Move Forward would have been even remotely surprised. People are well aware of the difficulties, and they knew from the very beginning that the need for 60 votes was always a very large gap. They expected the first votes to fail. I think if there was any question at all, would have been how close could Pita have got. But I think the fact that they're still about 50 votes short, I think that's a pretty sizable gap.
Right, so you're saying that the first round is more about the margins, and the rules are so that Pita can actually go up for multiple rounds of voting, but how would this be any different to what we saw on Thursday?
The first question, of course, is trying to figure out if those non-voters or the no voters are truly unchangeable, right? If you believe, if you have reasons to believe, if there are political signals to believe that these people can change, it's a matter of your political savviness. The big stumbling block for Move Forward Party is, of course, the Senate. So they have proposed to strip away the right of the Senate to vote for the Prime Minister. You would need an approval from the Senate, and I don't know how viable it is to ask the Senate to vote against their own interests. Pita represents an ideology that threatens the very social fabric, the very cultural identity, and the national security of Thailand. Unless they get really close, and unless they get to 350 perhaps, then people are going to start to think about the next step.
And with this question of potentially what next after Pita, what do you think needs to happen for Parliament to put in a new Prime Minister, whoever that may be?
Pita has to fail at least once more, the Pita's bid, and it has to fail in such a manner where it looks like it's insurmountable. That opens up the political avenue for the next party to then nominate their candidate. It will most likely be Pheu Thai at the moment. They've had 2 prime ministers, Thaksin and his sister Yingluck Shinawatra, who have suffered from coups, and they have nominated Kun Pathongthan Shinawatra, the daughter of Thaksin Shinawatra. She's known as Ung Ing, along with another major candidate, Kun Setha, who is former CEO of a real estate company. The question that begs itself, of course, is if it's Pheu Thai's turn to nominate, what can they do differently that MFP hasn't done? Ung Ing, she represents a certain political legacy that the senators and other politicians might also oppose.
That was Joyce Tseng speaking with Kawisa Kawi, a political analyst in Bangkok, Thailand. Coming up, Taiwan's top gymnasts are prepping for a major competition. Stay tuned to see them in action. Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's government is considering changing its rules on rural land use to develop renewable energy. But the plans are not going down well with local farmers and environmentalists. Sally Jensen reports.
Miles upon miles of fish farms, now covered with solar panels. This is Chigu, a village on Taiwan's west coast. It's become a symbolic case in the country's dilemma between expanding its renewable energy sources and protecting locals' land and agricultural rights. Incensed by the intrusion of solar panels onto their way of life, fisheries workers took to the streets of Taipei last year. The government is trying to rapidly ramp up solar power to reduce the country's reliance on fossil fuels and lower its greenhouse gas emissions. It hopes to almost double solar capacity by 2025. To achieve this, the authorities are now considering changing the rules on land use, turning some non-urban land into so-called green energy development areas. But this plan has not been welcomed by everyone.
我们只看到绿能发展区 要透过修法大开后门，变成一种空白授权的做法。我想这样子呢，合理吗？我们觉得非常的不合理。
The rule change would mean that solar farm construction would no longer be restricted to 660 square meters. The government says it would only apply to land with low agricultural value. But that's still no reassurance to numerous farming communities who believe they're being sacrificed in favor of business.
你形同把这里面的这些真正有高度意愿务农的这些农民给放生了，而且你等于是惩罚了这些有高度意愿就是做务农使用的这些农民。
Given Taiwan's lack of space, rapid expansion of renewable energy like solar and wind could cause more land disputes with smaller communities.
We need a lot of trust between government, developers, and local citizens. It's not always easy. There has been many protests. I expect that we will see more of that in the years to come.
Taiwan is determined to meet its climate goals and demonstrate itself as a climate leader on the world stage. But its drive to rapidly expand solar and other types of renewable energy may struggle to find fertile pastures at home. Devin Tsai and Sally Jensen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese tech giants TSMC and Foxconn are in talks to begin making chips in India. That's according to an Indian media report. The Taiwanese firms are reported to be also talking with TMH, a Japanese semiconductor solutions provider. If successful, the joint venture could see the companies produce both advanced and legacy chips in India, the report said. The report comes just days after Foxconn pulled out of a $20 billion chip joint venture with India's Vedanta. An artist from India has captured her 3-year-long stay in Taiwan through her ink and brush. Harsha Das learned Chinese ink painting while in Taipei and is hosting an exhibition. Unveils takes a closer look.
I never thought of it as an exhibition. I just wanted to show what I had been able to learn over the years.
This painting is part of an exhibition by Harsha Das. It's appropriately named home calling. After all, Harsha will soon leave Taiwan and return to our home country, India. The informal ties between India and Taiwan have grown in recent times, and this art exhibition by an Indian artist in Taipei paints a perfect picture of friendship between the two countries. Many of these Hua Niao Hua or bird and flower paintings are part of our exhibition at Taipei's National Central Library.
So for instance, for this fish painting, I think for me it was our 3 years in Taiwan, so 3 fishes for that. And they are all together and in the water, moving from place to place. So it also reflected a part of our life.
Harsha came to Taiwan in 2020 with her husband, Gaurangalal Das. He's the top Indian diplomat to a country that doesn't have official diplomatic ties with India. When Harsha had some free time, she spent it learning the traditional Chinese ink wash painting style.
It started getting more interesting because the technicality and the level of skill involved was immense. I mean, one wrong stroke or just a flick of the wrist the wrong way could just spoil your whole painting.
But with a little practice, she mastered the style's difficult strokes and shapes. Her teacher was the eminent Taiwanese artist Wang Jinzi. Here, the head of each of these sparrows was painted with a single stroke. And here, the quality of the water in this painting was achieved by changing the ink's density.
我们海峡夫人她是很聪明，而且又很肯用功。这个作画是一定要很用功。
Both Harsha's teacher and her classmates are impressed by her work.
It is very good. And actually, we are in the same class. And she's my senior. So she gave me a good example. Very good.
But now, for Harsha, it's time to say goodbye to Taiwan. Her art is, in her own words, a personal tribute to Taiwan and its people. Siwing Ling and Shubhampal for TaiwanPlus.
It's just 2.5 months until the Asian Games in China this September, and Taiwan's athletes are gathering in a country's south to train for the Games. Our reporter Sandy Chi went to meet some of Taiwan's top gymnasts as they get ready.
These athletes make it look easy, but behind the effortless grace is countless hours of hard work.
I'm here at the National Sports Training Center in southern Taiwan with some of the top gymnasts. They're here gearing up for the Asian Games that will take place in China in September. Until that day, almost every day from morning till night, they'll be undergoing intense training.
The athletic tape covering the athletes' bodies bears witness to how hard they've been working.
最大的目标就是我们团体然后可以上颁奖台，希望在团体上面取得前3。
比赛我相信呢，如果说我们可以 稳定的发挥的话，我目标是超越我们上次亚运会的成绩。这样。
One of the athletes representing Taiwan is Li Zhikai. He's the country's first gymnast to win an Olympic medal and is also an Asian Games champion. He won gold in the pommel horse in 2018 and was the all-round winner a year later.
就是最后一届，我觉得不要留下任何遗憾，不管在任何的时刻，好好把握当下。
The pressure is on for the upcoming tournament, but Li is also balancing his training with his family life.
因为我觉得在什么身份、什么状态，把该做的事情做好。身为选手，就把在训练场的时候把该做的课表、然后内容、然后目标给他设定清楚，来去执行，一步一步达成。那下了课离开场馆，回到家之后，当爸爸就该把孩子照顾好，当老公的就把老婆照顾好，这样 Happy wife, happy life.
Team Taiwan is also expecting big things from gymnasts. Ding Hua Tian.
本来比赛就是会有些压力，但是我觉得有一个目标是很好的一件事情，所以我会努力去达到。
With gymnasts like Ting and Li on the roster, there's no doubt Team Taiwan will reach great heights in Hangzhou. Patrick Chen, Leslie Liao, and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's roads are deadly for the country's native monkey species. A local animal rights group says cars have started killing dozens of Formosan macaques each year, a jump in deaths over previous years. Harrell Hughes reports.
This baby macaque has good reason to scream.
It was crossing a highway with its mother in southeastern Taiwan when a car appeared and hit them. A local animal rights group says incidents like this are becoming more common on the country's roads. Luckily for this baby, bystanders rushed in to help and took it to a nearby animal rescue center.
前面的猴子已经过了，然后妈妈就是他们这一对，妈妈跟小猴子就来不及就撞飞。
Taidong is home to the biggest population of Formosan macaques, and it's not uncommon for them to be killed on the county's roads.
放过2次，有的是受伤，有的是当场死亡。
The Taiwan Roadkill Observation Network says cars killed about 30 macaques each year over the past 5 years. That's up from about 10 deaths per year. The activist group says people giving food to wildlife could be making the problem worse.
这个喂食为什么会产生问题呢？第一个就是你在喂食的过程当中，会导致这些猕猴它对车辆跟人员失去警戒性。它看到人员跟车辆来的时候，它会把它跟食物画上等号。
Now the message coming from experts is clear. During the summer months, it's important for people to keep their eyes on the road and their snacks to themselves. Howard Jung and Harel Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we'll leave you with images of animals getting some frozen treats to cool up from the heat at a zoo in Israel. I'm Betty Chen. Take care and see you next time.